Wednesday morning. Right now in studio we have Christy McLaughlin. I knew I was going to say that wrong. Christy McLaughlin and Leslie Straight.
Hello.
See, hers was straight.
Yeah.
Straightforward on that
Straightforward.
Straightforward.
Not like George.
one. No.
just straight line.
He would be a good concert, wouldn't he?
Right, he would. And hopefully we're not getting straight line wins today, right?
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah.
Do so much with her name.
Yeah.
I know, right?
I'm a little jealous.
You can. Oh, yeah.
You want to share it?
Oh, yeah, we do. Probably enough. But yeah, you're right. There could be a lot
I've had
with
many
that.
names. It would just be another one to tack on.
Right, one more. Hyphenated.
But we're here to talk about the ARC, A-R-K, of
ARK.
Decatur County. I know, Krista, you've been involved as the board. Are you president of the board?
I'm president of the board this year, but I have been on the board for, probably 6-7 years now.
Okay. Leslie, how long have you been involved?
I have been involved about 6 months on the board.
About 6 months? Okay.
Yes, so
Did Christy pull you in?
actually Chuck recruited me before he left the board. Yeah, he was our past board president.
So
He-
who's Chuck?
Chuck Abbott was our past president.
Okay.
And he works for Choices, is very much involved in the recovery and addiction community.
Gotcha.
And he sat on our board for several years, and he knew he was going to be leaving because of a job situation.
Right.
And we all told him he couldn't leave till he had a replacement, and he comes walking in with this
Straightforward.
straightforward person, and
Yep.
we unanimously said, yes, please join our board.
Yes.
All right.
And
So-
then I quickly got the vice president position. So, you know,
We don't mess around.
that's right. That's right. So,
well,
but
that's the way
okay.
to do it. Yeah,
It
jump
is.
right to
you
the
know,
top.
jump right in.
Yeah.
You know, why not? So,
And Christy says, "Oh, when my time is up."
You're
You're gonna be
it's
ready.
so funny. Every year I keep thinking that I'll leave, but you just kind of end up falling in love with the place and
Right.
the clients, and we have two amazing directors, and it's I came on the board I think mainly just to help because initially they were lacking in board members, and I thought, well, I can do this. It won't be forever, and here I am. All these years later, and
Forever.
It's such a needed service that we have, and like I said, you just fall in love with the place. It's so hard to walk away and not be a part of it.
and the mission, you know.
So let's talk about that mission and what the ARC of Decatur County is.
Okay. I'll let you.
Well, so the ARC's mission is to provide stable and mostly housing to our clients, but those that are in recovery and addiction. Many years ago, we started out as a homeless shelter. That was the initial idea that Ernie Bailey and Oris Reese, God rest both their souls because they're both gone now, had started out with that vision. And it was for men and women and children. And we reached a point of capacity there where safety kind of became an issue of allowing all of those, genders and people being in one place under one roof. So we had to make a tough decision and went to becoming an all men's recovery. And then over the years, we became certified. We're INR level 2 status, which means that we've passed all the tests and regulations that the state requires for us to be a recovery house. We are now licensed with Recovery Works as well, so we do take clients that are eligible for state funding in that matter. But like I said, we're all men. We do have a program there for getting the clients through that recovery from addiction process, and it can be addiction really from anything. It's not just opioids or drugs or substances. Alcohol. So it's a great place where we have 30 men there, and we have a waiting list, and we've had a waiting list for months.
Okay. How many facilities are there?
So there's just the one facility, but we recently just purchased a property that was right next to our campus, and we've turned it into kind of a next step house.
Okay.
That is owned by the ARC. We treat it as a rental facility or a rental property. But we're transitioning guys into that house, unfortunately 3 at a time. But our housing market being what it is, and rent prices, it's really hard for some of the guys to find housing as they leave our program or are ready to go out, and start living on their own. And so the house that we bought on McKee Street really allows us to get them transitioned. It kind of gives them a buffer to start planning and preparing and saving and and making sure that they're ready to go on out there in the brutal world and be on their own a bit.
Okay, and so that's so when they transition, they're ready to be on their own, but this is just helping financially.
And we have
with
guys
trying
that
to get your
yes, we have guys that once they're done with the program and they're ready to go on, be on their own. They may not need this house, but it does provide an extra 3 more spots for us, so that really gives us 33 spots in total, So like I said, we have those 2 buildings, and we would love to double our size and have a whole nother building because we definitely see the need that's there. We could have another 30 more beds open tomorrow, and I have no doubt they'd be full in less than 30 days. I would like to say, too, within our program, Donald Brumley and Philip Graff are our 2 directors, and they really have done a fabulous job in working with our sheriff department, police department, the jail, and our prosecutor and judges. And from that standpoint, I mean, they really have gone above and beyond to look at the client's needs, and have, I don't want to say convinced, but have done a really good job letting those of authority have a place to put these clients. So they get in trouble, or there's an issue there. They either have served their time in jail, or we've had some cases where they've been sentenced, but they're sentenced and they have to come right to our house to go through our program.
Okay.
And we've done such a good job with getting some clients through there that our judges feel confident in our program and have said so. And I think that's a great testimony to what we have there, our board, the support that we give our directors, and then just the overall job that our directors are doing.
Okay. And so is there a length of stay, or is it all pretty much individualized with the program?
It's pretty much all individualized with the program. I mean, everybody's story is different. We like to have, on average, I would say 6 to 9 months. Some clients are there for longer than that. We don't put a timeline on anybody. We have a structure, don't get me wrong, of what they need to go through. But once they complete certain things and are doing well, everybody's adjustment to things is just different. So we kind of look at that on an individual basis, and our 2 directors have been in the trenches. Like they have all gone through this program. Both of our directors were clients at the ARC.
Okay.
And they have now gone on to classes and certifications, and they are truly experts, I feel like, in this field with not only living the lifestyle, but understanding how the help can work in your life and then what it looks like afterwards. And so they are a really good judgment of what your stay needs to look like with us at the ARC. We don't ever make anybody stay, of course, unless they're court ordered, to be there.
Right.
But if someone goes to the program and they don't like it, or they don't feel like it's a good fit for them, we don't force anybody to stay there once you come into the program. So we do occasionally have some people that just say, hey, this is not for me, or I'm not ready. I don't want to do this. And, we sometimes see them come back, and sometimes we don't. And, it's like I said, it's a process. It's very individualized.
So I'm sure you're going to worry about somebody who says this is not for me and wants to go out and worry about, because
our directors very much worry. Yes, they are usually trying to find that person or check in on them, or yeah. So we do.
Yeah.
We do.
And they frequently, will go out into the community and search the people out who they know. I mean, people talk, and they're within that group, where they hear these things, where some of us may not hear those kinds of discussions from concerned citizens. They may not bring those to, the community in general. So they've built that rapport with within that recovery community, and even those who are still in active addiction, they know that when they're ready, they can go to them and seek the services.
So where what counties do you draw from, or are you able to serve? Is it basically Decatur County based at right?
We definitely want to help our local clients, most definitely. However, we do have, I think word has gotten out of our facility and how well it's going. So we are seeing a lot of inquiries from outside our community.
Okay.
And I know we have had inquiries from Fort Wayne, South Bend, Gary. So I know that it's not just, and sometimes those clients have no ties to Decatur County whatsoever. They may have been got in trouble, let's say, up in the Fort Wayne, Allen County area, but they had a connection back to Greensburg, so that's why they wanted our facility. But now in some cases, we're seeing where that's not even the case. Word has just gotten out of our facility, and they'll call us and ask if we've got an opening. I think the other thing that you'll find too, the more you research and dig into recovery houses, so many of them are like us, though, especially the good ones, they're full. There's no beds open. And so that a lot of times, when you've got someone coming out of jail or is able to do that or has been sentenced, but they need to go to a recovery home, there's no place for them to go. And that's unfortunate because, a lot of these people are ready to change their lives and know what they need to do and are ready. And you don't get them into that spot, and then it becomes another cycle again of them going back to what they knew.
So, how does one get on the waiting list?
You would call into the ARC, or you can go on our website and send us a message. And then what we'll do is we'll have Donald or Philip follow up with you. There's a series of questions that we go through to kind of vet the client. Unfortunately, we do not take sex offenders, and we do not take serious violent felons. And that's just for the protection of those that are in our facility. And there's a few other questions that we go through in asking that client. And if we feel like we've got a bed coming open or whatever, we put them on that waiting list and try to help them. We have, in kind of some severe situations, bump someone on that list up higher if it was more of an emergency type thing. We don't like to do that, but if it came to that, we try. It's hard because we don't want to turn anybody away, and when someone comes to us and needs our services, and then we tell them, well, you're number 20 on the list, that's really heartbreaking. And also there are some times too, Philip and Donald will assess the situation, and they may need inpatient treatment.
Detox.
Yes. And so
we don't detox. They have to be already detoxed from their substances before they come.
So where do they get that service? Is it, if you've spent a period of time in jail, is that considered detoxing? If you're there
occasionally, yeah, they can detox through.
Or is there a program you would go through for
there
detox?
There are some programs that you can be admitted to detox,
and our guys have connections to those facilities.
Correct.
So let's say if
Yeah.
somebody just shows up at the ARC, and this happens too
a lot,
they'll just show up and say, hey, I need help. I need somebody to help me. I'm ready. I don't know what else to do. I have nowhere to go. They will make phone calls and get them into a detox program. We have a list of people we trust and places we trust and have had good outcomes with, and we do our very best to get them into one of those facilities and start the process there.
So are those all over? Is it in this area?
Yeah.
Bartholomew County, do they have a detox center?
I don't know if Bartholomew County does.
Shelby?
I know Lawrenceburg, Connersville. I think there's one in Anderson.
Marion County.
Yeah. So we have several places that the guys can work with.
And there's a couple that they may have to go to Cincinnati or to Louisville. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that service is
And that's-
available, and they
yes.
can, if they need assistance, every effort's made to get them into one of those programs.
Absolutely.
If they need to do the detox before they're eligible to go to recovery.
Correct. Correct.
So there's and you can look this up too. It's called Choices. They usually have employees who, if Donald or Philip will call them, who can come and right to that client and get them help, and then take them to the inpatient place
Wow.
of where they need to go.
And that's called Choices?
That's called Choices. That's just one of many that
Right.
do this, type of work. So, like I said, there's a whole gamut of why you may need the ARC and
Right.
different services for. In order to get there, it's not all just everybody coming out of jail or everybody being sentenced, or there's many other reasons, and we try to address all of those.
So somebody could just be living their life along and say, oh, wait a minute, this is not right. I need to
Absolutely.
I need to get on a different track.
Right.
Yeah.
They can stop by the ARC. They can come to. They can go on the website and they can make a phone call, and we'll do our best to find the right spot for them. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So what are the different, when we talk about recovery, what are the different, is it basically one overall service? I know we talk about detox and different things like that, but is there any what kind of certification or what kind of educators or what kind of, just what kind of services are there with recovery? I mean, you said Donald and Philip. You said they are certified in, what are they certified in again?
Peer recovery coach.
Is recovery coach. And then what services, do they work for somebody here, or are they affiliated with some service here in Decatur County?
Just the ARC.
The ARC, okay.
Yep.
They also recently got certified in MRT, which is moral recognition therapy.
Okay.
And those are two kind of big things, in all honesty, to have to tackle, and they're like I said, they've done a great job in embracing this, to making sure that they're qualified to handle these situations. Just to kind of explain the process of somebody coming in. So, once we have them in the facility, we get them a bed and get them assigned to an area. Most of the time, they may or may not have a driver's license, birth certificate, social security card, all that kind of stuff. In the men's recovery world, it's really important to get them back working. It seems like that is a huge uplifting thing for them. I know in women's recovery that it doesn't look like that. But for our guys, our Philip and Donald immediately go to work. And the one thing I really want to praise our community for, and I say this all the time, we have wonderful employers in our community. Philip and Donald can make a phone call, kind of find out the background. Maybe the client has worked in the factory, or maybe has a specialty in welding or mechanic or whatever. And we try to get them a fit with that. Some of them just want a job, right? Just to get me back out there. And usually the first couple of weeks are getting them situated, making sure that they're remaining sober, and then getting their documentations, and that that can take a while. Once we have that, those employers are like, yep, send them on out, or we know what the drill is, so we've got the application ready to go. They've already filled that out at the ARC, and then when they go to the job site, they're ready to go. I really don't know of any employer, honestly, who has denied us or said, don't bother, don't come back, don't send us anybody. We are so welcomed everywhere. And that's just, like I said, is a true testament to our community, saying we don't care about the past, or we're willing to give second chances, and you need that. And even to the people that are in our facility that are not from Decatur County, they don't have necessarily a tie here. Our employees are still saying, yeah, bring them on out, and we'll do our best with them as well. And so that is so important to highlight. From there, the guys start working. They do have to pay rent every week to live at the ARC, and then they're required to go to meetings. They're required to go through the programming. There's individual meetings they have to have with our directors as well. Make sure they're staying on track, dealing with any issues, and then just kind of getting into the crux of why they were in the addiction. who's still in their life that may be in the addiction, that they're still wanting to, be a part of, and understanding how to set boundaries, and,
identifying triggers and
yeah.
boundary setting is a huge factor for a lot of people as well. So I think that's really important. And, they do some pretty intensive requirements for the number of meetings that they have to attend. And so they have Hickory, is it Recovery? Hickory Recovery.
Hickory House.
Hickory House. And some
what's
work
Hickory
with
House?
Hickory House is I don't know that it's Hickory House. It's Hickory Recovery, I think, because they provide counseling. They're contracted with our police departments and those types of probation. They're connected with those, and they provide some of those IOP, which is, I never can remember what those what the IOP, intensive outpatient
Yes.
services. Yeah, I was hoping one of the guys would come because they could explain that part of it.
Yes.
We're on the supportive, here's your cheerleaders.
That's what I was
Hickory House Recovery, that's in Greenfield, though.
thinking. Oh, okay. Sorry.
So it's okay.
Hickory Treatment Center.
Hickory Treatment Center,
Okay.
maybe. Yeah. So, and they're based on Ireland Street, but they do, they go to the ARC, to the classroom,
Okay.
and provide that those meetings there at the ARC. So, and I know some of them also go to Centerstone to receive other treatment services, counseling services, those types of individual growth therapies that need to take place for their recovery. So,
I think if Philip and Donald were here, I think the one thing that they would probably say is, along with all of the list of must-dos while you're there, the bigger part of these guys in this house and the environment that they live within is the support they get from each other. And I feel like the ARC does a really good job of keeping that environment like that. Donald and Philip, I think, would also say that, so much of the recovery progress, is based on being there for each other. They're all kind of in this, they've all in the same, what I want to say, spot. They're all coming from that same area, and they all understand each other. And I think Philip and Donald do a great job of creating that environment where they're all uplifting each other. Although, for example, church is not a requirement, you'll see on Sundays a long line of 20-some, 30-some guys walking from the ARC out to the different churches, the Baptist church, the Christian church, and, utilizing faith in their recovery process. And that's been a huge factor in many of our clients' lives. And then they come back, a lot of times they'll do a breakfast before they go out, and then they come back and they're still all hanging out. The other thing that we've really tried to work hard on this year was creating our alumni group. And those that have graduated from the program, we've got a board member who is meeting with them on a quarterly basis, and they're coming back to the ARC and checking in and showing them, like, hey, this is what's going on with us and with me, and this is what I'm doing, and this is where you can be. And, just providing that extra pat on the back and support and hug and love. And, if you sit and talk to some of these guys, you'd be surprised. Well, maybe not, but I mean, it's eye-opening to me, at least. They just want to be loved. They want to know that they're going to be okay. They just need a hug, or they just need to, hey, you did a good job today.
Just a good old attaboy sometimes. I think we all need that.
Well, it's interesting, too, because Esperanza House was in here not that long ago.
Yes, I saw their
And talking
YouTube.
about, like with the healing process and moving forward, how different does it look for women than it does for a man? Do women tend to be more... be more hug and
Right.
more, or in men is it kind of a not necessarily macho, but maybe a little bit macho, or
Right.
maybe like
Right.
I'm a little bit leery about letting my guard down.
Yes.
Right.
You know, I mean, we
Absolutely.
see a lot of
Yeah.
differences with that.
Yeah. I'll tell you another. Oh, go ahead.
I
No.
can't really speak to what the differences are because I'm not involved in, Speranza or women's recovery. So I haven't really like dove into that type of differentiation. But I think everybody needs love, you know, and people let you know how they want love. And sometimes they ask for love and attention in the more harmful ways, you know, through
Okay.
acting out,
Yeah.
through, you know, and sometimes that trauma is what's led to, you know, their addictions. So, yeah. So,
Another amazing thing I think I've seen at the Ark over my time there is, you know, watching some of these guys get back with their children. You know, they have either had their kids taken from them or lost custody or lost parental rights and visitations and all that. I was there not too long ago with a gentleman, and actually I was having a meeting with Philip and Donald, and this gentleman was actually leaving, and he'd gotten himself an apartment, and his daughter was there with him. And she was so excited to be able to go stay with her dad again, and thanked us for helping get her dad back
Oh
in
my
her
gosh,
life. And this
wow.
little
Yeah.
girl was 11 years old.
Ah,
yeah.
You know, and for her to have such joy and excitement and
wow.
and I felt, you know, and the dad, you know, he's just there with tears in his eyes because he knows, you know, not only is he in her life as every parent should be, but you know, he's also being responsible. He's helping take care of her. You know, he went out and bought her a new pair of shoes, and
Yeah.
she was on cloud 9.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was just such a, and it's not about the material things, don't get me wrong,
Right.
but,
Right.
but just having that interaction again and support and love. I mean, I feel like that child is now in a better place because not only does she have her mom, but she's got her dad too. And she has a far better chance for success in our world than not having one or either one of them.
Yeah, when you hear stories like that, and when you put the you know,
Yes, and I think if that client had to come and talk to our resident, you know, I think that would be one of his stories is, look where I'm at now with my children, and he would not trade that for the world. So
We had another one recently that that came through. I believe he's still there as a resident, but he was so excited that he made his first child support payment.
wow.
You know, so as they continue to build and take on that responsibility that maybe they've, you know, neglected or didn't have the option to do while they were in active addiction, you know, just taking care of their kids by paying their child support as they continue to grow and build themselves back where they need to be so that they can have that positive role in that child's life. So, you know, those are just two recent incidents. You know, there's a long list of them.
Yeah.
So
when those things happen, it just drags us in even more
Yeah.
than we can ever leave because we want to hear that story over and
Absolutely.
over
yeah,
again.
right.
Yeah, those stories will do it, won't
Yes,
they?
yes.
All right. Well, again, what's the phone number to call?
812-222-3556.
Or online.
You can go online to the Decatur County, the Ark of Decatur County
That's
Co.
ARK.
Yeah, ARK. So the Ark of Decatur Co.com is our
Right.
online. If I can put two more things in
All
real
right.
quickly, we do have a fundraiser coming up. So the ARC is not funded by the state. We are not funded by federal money. We don't take any local county money. We do receive grants from time to time that we apply for from the Decatur County Community Foundation, but we are solely supported on our own. We're very proud of that. But we are having a fundraiser. It is on April 25th. We're having a dinner and comedian night.
Okay.
So if you want to come out and have really good food at the First Christian Church Community Center, we've got a funny comedian. He's clean, but it's going to be funny. And it's dinner and a show, and $40 gets you a ticket. And I think that's pretty cheap for food and entertainment.
It is. All right. And
Especially when you can get a laugh.
Exactly.
absolutely. I think laughter is the best medicine. So
Yes.
I'm always a huge proponent of anything that makes me laugh.
I agree.
Yeah. So join us. The ladies from the church there have graciously decided that they would fix our meal.
Good.
For us.
With dessert.
With desserts. With a choice of desserts.
Yeah.
And the Napoleon State Bank, we would like to thank them for donation for helping to buy that food.
Okay.
So, yeah, definitely come out, support the guys, have a good evening out, just enjoying yourself and enjoying what our community has to offer and supporting such an important mission
Absolutely.
and organization.
Yes.
Notice she said the ladies of the church and not the church ladies.
Yeah.
When we're talking about a comedy night. Yeah.
Right. That's funny. That is very good.
well.
Thank you, Sandy.
All right, Christy, Leslie, thanks for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
907